Oh, cool. No Wi-Fi. Ah, got it. I need to go get my earphones. Brittany. My love bug. Yeah.
I can't phone her when I found it. The key.
Oh, my.
Oh, God.
What's up, everybody? Make sure you're liking the screen. Dude, my hair is a mess. I need to brush it. But if I brush it, it's going to go all over the place. So, I will be discussing self-sabotage, why we do it as addicts, right? But this also will, it's mentally too. So we don't have to base it on recovery. Everybody self-sabotages. So can you guys hear me? What's up? I just want to know if everybody could hear me. Yeah? Okay, cool. There's 4 people in here. I'm going to share it out. I don't know if anybody wants to share it out. If you have anybody that is in recovery or has suffered from mental illnesses, we can invite them. That'd be pretty awesome. Because it's not only in recovery. We self-sabotage as humans. But since I'm in recovery, it's going to be based off of recovery. Just so you guys know. Anybody else that I could share this to? I know. I'm sharing this out. That's why it's kind of... I'm quiet. I've hurt in my mouth, my face. Oh, whatever. I don't even want to share it right now. Good morning, recovery family. What's up, Amanda? How you guys doing? Thank you for popping in and saying hi. What's up, Alex? All right, so what's up? How are you guys doing? So right now, I'm gonna be discussing self-sabotage. We do it as human beings. Like, it's the way that we were brought up, or it's overthinking or anxiety, it's mental illnesses. We do this because we try to escape our thought process, and sometimes we can't escape that thought process, so we, in a way, sabotage ourselves. I'm good. See you and see the opportunity to get acquainted. What's up? How you guys doing? What's up, Megan? How you doing? Megan's here. Brittany's here. So, and we have other people in the chat. We do have boxes open. I only have 6 boxes, but I would like to stick to the discussion about the self-sabotage, any stories about self-sabotage, any kind of insight that you have about self-sabotage, if you're going to be up in the box. 10,000 form of fear, recovery in addicts. Boom. That is so true. And that's one reason why we self-sabotage. So in this process, I wrote things down, bullet points. I'm going to read some stuff on my laptop. No, I'm not battling. Sorry, everybody. I don't need a battle right now or want to battle because this is a discussion meeting on self-sabotage. So I hope you guys understand. If you're going to try to battle me, please don't. I'm so organized. Not really. All right. So, this is a statistic that I'm going to read to you guys, about, some recovery. Okay. So did you know that 40 to 60% of addicts who complete rehab will relapse? Even more significant portion of these individuals will not finish rehab. They will self-sabotage themselves instead of succeeding. What's up, Viking? How you doing? Can we grab coffee sometime? Well, I'm drinking coffee right now. I don't know you. I don't do that. Never been to rehab and clean since. Congratulations. You have mods? No, but I'm gonna mod. Actually, I do have some mods. Megan is a mod in here. Oh, well, I have a lot of mods on my account, apparently. Oh, I think I have you on, your main account. I have to go through my mod list, and I don't really want to do that right now. I wish that I had, more mods in here. I know you're a mod, Meg. So, one of the biggest obstacles between recovery and you is yourself. Thank you for blocking. You're most likely, going to self-sabotage in your recovery because it's the way that we think. We do have tools that will help us, get over that. And I'm going to specify some tools that we can use in our recovery so we don't have to self-sabotage. 5 main reasons that we self-sabotage ourselves in recovery. Many people have a difficult time in recovery. We all know it's hard. It's hard as hell. And once we get into recovery, we don't have a lot of coping skills, and we don't have a lot of boundaries in place. So those are some sort of ways that we could not self-sabotage in our recovery. Because most of us, when we come into recovery, like I said, we don't have skills to recover. But these individuals that do recovery, they kind of self-sabotage their own process. And that is one of the reasons why we undermined their own recovery. That's why we undermine our own recovery. Dang, feelings that we start, yeah. Then them feelings start getting real, and we have no other way to process them. Sorry, language. I don't really want to cuss, so I'm going to try to not cuss. I definitely self-sabotage in a lot of areas in life. Facts. Yeah. The reasons why I am doing this discussion is because when I got my 4-year sober chip and clean chip, it was the 22nd, and the 21st, I started self-sabotaging. And I did that because I felt very, how would I see it? I felt very unappreciated. So I in a way started self-sabotaging myself around my friends. And it wasn't until I woke up in the morning and I actually talked to my sponsor about it. She told me, I mean, I didn't even know I was doing it in the first place. Because that's the way that I've been my entire life. Even though I'm 4 years sober and clean, I still have those doubts and I still have those issues that I have to work through. But if I don't have those doubts and I don't understand why I'm even doing it in the first place, then I'm going to push everybody away. See, when we have recovery, we have to have a solid foundation and we have to have a solid support system. Crypto, I would love you to be in the box right now, but let me get some of this through before I allow people into the box. Because right now we are discussing self-sabotage and why we do it as addicts and alcoholics and mental illnesses around the our shit. So the number one thing that we do as addicts and alcoholics is we do not have the ability to deal with negative feelings and thoughts. Bullseye. Because when we start realizing that we are in recovery, that's like I said, we had no other coping skills. We had no other boundaries formed in place. So when we start thinking negative about ourselves and put ourselves in a situation where we feel like we're trapped, what do? We back away. When you feel like you're in the corner of a wall, right? How are you going to change that corner? You have to be able to step forward through that corner. I hide. Well, yeah, a lot of people do hide. A lot of people are afraid of themselves. Hide, and that's counterproductive. Exactly. We hide. We hide our true feelings, the raw feelings, the honest feelings. We hide those feelings because we do not know how to comprehend those feelings. Many recovering addicts, right, and alcoholics, they hide from their own true feelings and emotions and thoughts. So how they don't know how to deal with their inner struggles, right? So we turn to the use. We turn to what we used to do to feel better about ourselves. And the inability to deal with negative feelings and thoughts can lead to the decrease of the feel-good scenario, right? So the hormones inside our brain is like dopamine. Substance like drugs and alcohol can temporarily increase the dopamine. So when we are in recovery, right, and we start taking forward the steps to be sober and clean, that means we have to start working on our stuff, right? We have to start healing from the inside out, right? So our bodies and our brain is still trying to process the fact that we're not using the drugs and alcohol to numb that pain, to hide our emotions, to feel that love, to feel that support. When we get into our brain, that's our own doing, right? We cannot understand it, for one, unless we want to go to psychology school and be a psychiatrist and whatever the hell. But sometimes we cannot process it. And that's why one of the reasons why we self-sabotage is because that's how our brain is wired to think like that. Number two, they romanticize addiction because most of us get bored. That means we have to find some hobbies or doing anything in our power to find something to do. What's up? Are you leaving?
Yeah, I gotta go with Simon's baby, my grandson,
That's
and
right.
then I gotta go to the school for a hot
Thursday.
spot. It's Thursday, yeah, Thursday and Friday. I forgot all about it, but I will see you later.
Okay, I love you.
Love you too. Oh wait.
I went down that pool today. You did? Ha! You started self-sabotaging? Dude, I did it. It's not okay. It's not okay. But the truth is, addiction takes up the person's time. It does. We tend to find ways when we are addicts to process our time, our money, our finances. We find ways to not be bored, right? So once we tried to get sober and clean, I went down a mental spiral yesterday, and it was all about self-image. Egos will kill you. But yeah. So when we're trying to get sober, these individuals they don't know what to do with their time. They don't. I know I didn't know what to do with my time. When I first got sober, I tried so many times. I gardened, I worked out, I walked around the block. I got bored because I wasn't hanging out with my friends anymore. I got bored at home being with my kids. So I had to find other opportunities to spend time not drinking or using. Spending time with my kids saved my life. And my family saved my life. Because if I don't have that support system, in that sense, I will go back out and use. And that's the whole thing about it, is that's how we live our life. If we don't have that solid foundation, we will relapse. That's why support is a huge, huge deal. Because most of us growing up did not have a support system. Sometimes even if they did have a support system, they still felt alone. So that's why we used to use a lot. Because 1, we weren't okay with ourselves. 2, we were a black sheep. We were perfectionists. We didn't prepare. Sometimes we made ourselves too busy to address the problems at hand. I'm freaking out that I have an amazing support system now. Yes, it is. What's up, Chucklehead? So we are discussing self-sabotage and why we do it as addicts in recovery, and how sometimes we have to process other things, and we have to realize that we're even doing it. So anyways, we're discussing self-sabotage. If you want to get up in the box, you're more than welcome. Come up in the box. Anybody can come up into the box if they have a story to tell about self-sabotage, points to get over self-sabotage. It's an open box, but I only have 6 boxes, just so you guys know. I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you so much for dropping in. You just want me in your box. Megan, I always want you in my box. Just kidding. Okay. So, as addicts and alcoholics, we crave the use. We crave it because our brains are bored. So that's my brain is telling me that I'm going to fail my friendships. Yeah, that's a way to self-sabotage, because when you start overthinking about it, right? That's when our anxiety kicks up. That's when we start overthinking. That's when we start shutting down. That's when our brain starts doing the things that it used to do. To prevent anything like this happening, I'm not battling you guys. I'm sorry. To prevent this from happening is really hard to do. But there's ways to self-sabotage. I don't even think that's a word, but I I think I made a word. Drugs and alcohol users should really consider a lot in recovery. No, you guys, I'm not battling. Hobbies saved me when I got sober and clean. Like, seriously, they did. And that's when I started hitting my meetings more. They say 90 meetings in 90 days. Don't miss a meeting. Because when we go through that process of the first few weeks of recovery, that's when our brains start realizing, hey, you're not using anymore. What am I supposed to do now? It's hard the first couple weeks of 90 meetings in 90 days. Yes. Going to a meeting every day. I suggest that because that's what I did. I went to 3 meetings this week. No, people, I'm not going to. It gets used to our new life. It's very hard. Yeah, it's very hard for us to comprehend things. So like riding bikes, painting, writing, volunteering, meetings, self-helps. There's so many ways. Gardening, I had to pick up gardening, and like when I was pulling weeds, like I was screaming at these weeds because these weeds were taking care. These weeds were all over my garden. You know, just shoveling the dirt. Like it got a lot of anger out. I started working out. I started spending time with my kids, the kids that I've raised. I wasn't being selfish about it. I was reading books to them, family visits. Like I was doing things to keep my mind preoccupied, because that's what we do. We have to keep our mind preoccupied. So meetings is actually, I think it's very good and it's very helpful. Sometimes there's people that don't want to go to meetings, and if that's what they want to do, that's by all means, that's fine. King Bear, I'm not okay. What's up? Is that TK? Yeah, TK, what's up? True, building the foundation for recovery is so important. Yes. Your uncle, what do you mean? Oh my gosh. Well, I know that feeling, and my heart goes out to you. Like seriously, it's hard to cope with that process. I'm extremely sorry for that. Like prayers go with you. Like if you need to DM me, you need to DM me if you need to. If you want to jump in the box if you want to come in the box, I'll help you, like speak to you, let you vent. Right now we're actually discussing self-sabotage. And it's really funny that you just came in my live and said that, because when we are in that process of addiction and in recovery, we lose a lot of people.
Speaking of the recovery thing, when I was told, that was the first thought in my mind, was I wanted to go do an 8-ball. And then I remembered that I'm almost 2 years clean and I can't piss away my sobriety.
Of course. That's
But
discipline right there.
do what?
I said that's discipline. At least you were
Yeah.
able to comprehend and able to understand that even though that even though that you were craving that use, right? You were able to fight through that use and then come on live and actually talk. I'm so sorry, TK. That's my heart goes out to you. Do you mind if I ask you how?
He shot himself.
Practice the pause. Exactly. He practiced the pause. That means he's able to comprehend his triggers.
Yeah.
I'm great self-awareness and mindfulness. Yes. That pause is very important because a lot of people don't know how to handle that pause.
Yeah. It's more of a breathing technique so I don't, get overly emotional about it, because this is the second person this year that I've already lost to self unaliving. So I'm and I'm not okay, but I'm not gonna do anything like that. So, but
I totally understand. When my brother passed away, that was the hardest thing ever. I think I screamed on top of my lungs and I fell to the floor. It felt like my heart just broke. It felt like my entire heart tore.
you
And
live right down the road from a cemetery, and I just had to use my mom's car to drive down to the cemetery and do some broccoli. And on my drive home, I just screamed on the top of my lungs, and I'm not mentally here right now.
I totally understand. I mean, that's how sometimes we have to handle our grief in a certain way. I mean, a lot of people go through grief and they're the only ones that can feel the way that they're feeling. I mean, yeah, we could say that we felt like that before, but each brain and each human has their own emotions. And going through grief in recovery is very hard to do. Because then we start thinking about survivor's guilt. Like, how did I get clean and not my brother? Like, I had to think about that. But the only thing I have to do now is remember why I got clean in the first place. And he's up there and he's happy that I'm clean and sober and I'm not walking down that path that he was walking down. And I'm so sorry that you have to deal with this. And we are all here for you. You could always snap me if you need to. I'll send you my snap and we could talk.
Right.
I mean, I don't want you to feel alone in this whole situation.
Yeah, and
Like,
me personally, I'm trying to stay strong and everything for my mom and hold this part back from her. Like, I'm on the other side of the trailer with the door shut, and I'm trying to be strong for her because this is her little brother, and I'm just trying to keep my head on straight.
so I had to feel that like that because we have a little sister, and I wasn't really there growing up with my little sister. And my little sister, you know, means a lot to me. And for me to actually be there sober and clean was the best thing I was able to do. Being able to wrap my mom and me and my dad and all the family while I was clean and sober.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucked up that life happens like this. But remember, life, it doesn't matter how long people are in your life for. Each one are lessons, they're blessings.
Each one impacts you a little bit more and turns you into the person that you become.
Exactly. TK, you just hit it on the nose, dude.
Yeah,
And
I know that one pretty well.
good. Because that's what we do. We encourage others to find that light in their own voice to
Exactly.
deal with the shit that we have to deal with every day without the use of the alcohol, without the use of the drugs.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I wish I could, be level-headed without the broccoli, but I can't.
well,
But
you also have other issues too,
yeah,
mentally. So it's okay for you to have that broccoli when you need that broccoli.
yeah, I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and I gotta go talk to a therapist, and God, I'm gonna fill his list up tomorrow.
It's okay. I had to get outside help too. Like I still talk to my therapist. Like if I don't talk to my therapist, my entire routine gets messed up. So self help like that also does help. Even if it's uncomfortable at first, it's going to widen your eyes on yourself and help you heal more than what you've already been healing. And TK, I'm really damn proud of you because you could have did what you did, but you didn't.
Yeah,
And that is very disciplined. You know, if you were to go that way again, what you would lose. And that takes courage to not use. And for you to come here and talk to me about this, I respect you. Because when I did that, when my brother passed away, I decided that I was going to relapse. I decided that I was going to lose everything that I worked for 10 months of my sobriety because I was doing this by myself. And the only thing I chose to do is relapse. So
I
I'm
know.
very, very proud of you that you did not relapse.
I I remember when I hopped in the live the other day, y'all was like, how y'all was saying that y'all miss me and stuff like that, and I've been going through a lot of shit and here lately, and I just been really staying off my phone and just kind of trying to live in the moment, trying to make myself happier, and then I wake up, I hear my mom crying in the next room. I walked in there and I asked her what was going on, and she told me that my Uncle Mike did that, and I just,
You broke down.
yeah, well, I didn't break down in front of her. I walked over and I gave her a hug, and she broke down in my arms, and I held all my emotions until I asked her if I could use the car to go to the cemetery, and because my dad's buried right down the road, and that's where I normally sit. And then excuse me, and then I broke down there.
It's okay. You feel. You're human. It's okay to cry.
Guys, I don't like showing emotions.
Oh, of course you don't like showing emotions. It's TK. All right? But we are all human.
I
It's
know.
okay to cry. It's okay to let go of those tears. Because if you let go of those tears, right, you're going to feel better about yourself. Even screaming will help you feel better about yourself. I know everybody says this and everybody doesn't agree with this, but even writing things down, even just speaking to another human being will help you feel better about yourself. We all go through grief in a certain way. And like I said, I'm very proud of you that you came to me and talked to me about this, because this is what we do. We share our stories and give hope to other people like us to feel more welcome in this world.
Yeah, I just I don't I don't normally open up to people. Like I this is probably the first time I've actually opened up to anybody in a very long time. Other than like, when I'm talking to y'all. Like y'all, I don't know what it is about this group of people, but y'all get me to open up a lot more.
And that's good. You're trusting us. You're
Yeah.
wanting to be vulnerable with us. And opening up will save your life. If you keep everything locked up inside of you, you're mentally not going to be okay. You're going to be tired, sick, emotional. But for you to open up, for anybody to open up, that will save somebody's life one day.
I just
So I thank you for coming in here and talking to me. Because what we just did right now is we just had an honest communication, a raw communication about feelings. And that's what we do. That's what we fight every day when we are addicts. That's what we do. We fight every day because we don't want to feel those pains anymore. We don't want to feel it. It's hard enough to live life feeling freaking painful.
with everything that's been, I mean, how the world, I feel like the world's going to hell in a handbasket. I mean, with all the death and destruction there has been in just the last 5 years. In the last 5 years alone, there's been more death and destruction than there has been in the past like 40 or 50 years. Like it's fucking crazy.
Of course. Sorry, you guys. I'm not even reading the comments. I'm just in my zone helping TK. But like I said, I'm very proud of you for coming in here and being vulnerable and opening up. And I'm extremely sorry for what you have to deal with. But don't don't shut down. Speak about your emotions.
Yeah, I just kind of.
Oh, Grandma Rocks wants to come in. I'll accept her. Hi, Grandma Rocks.
Hey, I wanted to point out something for you. You said you were there to hug your mom whenever she was crying.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing that you were at a place in your sobriety where you're hurting too, but you were able to be there for your mom because of where you are in your sobriety? You were able to hold your mother.
Yeah,
I,
I mean,
I just wanted to say that
me,
because we have to
me,
find.
me a year and a half ago, wouldn't even have been able to allow to step foot in this house, much less talk to her. 'Cause,
Exactly. Exactly. And you were able to be there for her. And that's big stuff. And I want you to
Hi,
remember
baby.
that's where you are in your sobriety. You were able to be there for your mother. Totally there. All of you. And that's all I got to say. I'm sorry. I just had to add that because we have to look at that. You know, we also think about when we're in a bad place,
Yeah.
the things that we could do.
Buddy Royal and I weighed ourselves.
I don't know. I'm not going to ramble, but I just wanted to point that out because it's so important.
Did a couple times.
Yeah, it's all good, I guess.
1, 3, but yeah.
That's all. And I'm proud of you and I love you and I'm here for you if you ever need. I just wanted to tell you that.
I
I'm in
appreciate
the
it.
sober life too, and you are a very strong person because you're not doing it by yourself anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, just
I've
So you
been
have that
hopping
choice.
What, TK?
on. I don't know anymore.
It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to know anymore. You're on the right path. You're on the right path to your recovery. Your recovery is your own.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you that. Because what you do know is that you're sober and clean today, and you're going to go to bed sober and clean today. Even though you say you don't know, you know exactly what you need to do.
Yeah, no.
And it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel these emotions because that's what like I said, we've had to cope with holding everything in.
Yeah. um, yeah. I remember the fucking withdrawals, man. God. That's what keeps me sober is thinking about the withdrawals. The feeling of thinking you're dying and the agonizing pain feeling in my chest when I really wanted to use. Which in reality, it was just my nerves.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was my body fighting and getting all that shit out of my system.
Exactly. And detox is hard to do.
Hell yeah, especially when you're doing it cold turkey.
Yeah, exactly. When you
Like,
don't have any help. Detox is hard to do.
hell yeah.
Exactly. I realized that you stay sober. Yeah, I know it's dangerous to do anything cold turkey, but
It is very dangerous, especially like how much I was intaking at the time. I could have easily had a heart attack, but luckily I didn't.
at least you're still here till this day, and you could share that story with somebody else because not everybody makes it out of detox. Not everybody can make it out of detox. A lot of people died in detox.
Yeah, because when you're in detox, you're not thinking completely straight. You'll think I just need a little bit, and you could get a whole quantity amount and overdo it and fucking OD. I know a lot of my friends who did H and died because of it. Like,
I love you, TK, and I'm going to be here for you no matter what. All right? And if you need to call me, you need to call me any time of day. I'll even give you my number, my snap, because you have this light inside of you that you need to keep. And for you to sit here and feel the way you're feeling, you don't need to be alone right now.
it's funny how you say that you think there's a light inside of me because I honestly feel that light being burnt out.
I could see the light inside of you. You have so much potential. You have the courage to grow. You've already been growing.
Yeah, I've been clean about a year and 7 months.
What'd you say, TJ? 7 months?
Yeah, a year and 7 months.
A year and 7 months. And you've grown so much.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna have to hop off the live. My mom's hollering for me.
You're good.
I'll catch y'all later.
Okay, bye, TK.
Bye.
Anybody else adore the bear picture behind Mystical? I forgot I had that. All right, so back at it. Sorry for that that detour. Did you see that comment? No, I have not been seeing any comments. My bad. Mystical, mad love for real. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She has been sober for 5 years. I know your daughter. You're amazing, girly, my respect. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for, what's up, Mid? How you doing? Lisa? Everybody that's coming in? You have that light and that, exactly. And he will make it big. He will. If he keeps focusing on his recovery. Anyway, so everybody's getting up right now. And I'm supposed to be on live. So anyways, I was discussing, oh, you're good. I was discussing he romanticizes addiction when they get bored. Okay, so number three. The individual has low self-confidence. Studies show that a lot who do suffer from alcohol and addiction does have low self-esteem. Reasons behind there's still a mystery between why people still have low self-esteem. It's because maybe they came from a traumatic growing up, right? When they don't know their worth anymore, they feel lost, confused. They also have other issues going on inside their head. We're making sure maybe they have ADHD or they're self-medicating. There's tons of issues on all that as well. There's tons of research if you guys want to do your own research. But when we come into recovery, we're leaving our old life behind. That means we have to change things, places, and what's the other one? I'm just trying to ask everybody, what's the other ones that you have to change? The three things that we have to change. Exactly. Things, people, one more. Places. Good job. Good job, everybody. You know what you're talking about. All right, crypto. So yeah, we have to find a peer. We have to find a strong support group, for one. We have to find motivation for others. We have to find motivation within ourselves. We have to look at the positive aspects of life, change our perspective on life. We have to do all kinds of stuff in order for our brain to actually fully heal. one thing about me is I had to find a sponsor, a mentor, to guide me through my recovery, to guide me by giving me tools, right? Your sponsor only that you could do with action. Exactly. You have to have action and willingness to change your life, right? So we have to find that. We have to find what we are lacking and find that positive. So like I said, going to meetings 90 days, 90 and 90, it helped me a lot. And it's definitely not going to be comfortable, because when we come to addiction and we come into recovery, we lack certain aspects of life that we lacked growing up. So to be vulnerable with somebody else is definitely an issue when we can't trust people. Definitely, we can't trust people. We can't even trust ourselves. So how can we trust somebody else? Boundaries. I already discussed boundaries, and it's live on YouTube. But boundaries, when we don't have boundaries, we can't differentiate the things that we are lacking. We have to identify our triggers. Like it helps when we go through the steps to actually make us feel alive again. To take that mask off, take that fakeness off. Like seriously, we have to be able to change our lives. But the only way that you can change is to do the work. We can't change for you. I can't change you. I cannot change you. I made it clear to anybody who I take on sponsees. I cannot change you. You have to change yourself. I will give you tools to help you heal. I will give you the tools to, be able to open up, to be able to, expand your horizons on your recovery. But I cannot change you. If you want to drink, you're going to drink. You could call me, right? You could call me and I will help you and talk to you, and then you'll forget about it, right? That's what we do as sponsors and mentors. Someone told me, pray with my feet, which made me a huge impact on me. Pray with my feet. Like grounding. Grounding is another way to fight the self-sabotage. Grounding is good. Keep going is good. Like these are all tools that we share in recovery. Okay, so we're gonna do number 4. Okay. The user seeks comfort. That's a big issue. It's a huge issue, because when we are uncomfortable as addicts and alcoholics, we use. When we put ourselves in a situation where we are uncomfortable, we use. Heavy users sabotage their own recovery because they are not used to life without the drugs and alcohol. That's the main thing. That's one thing about self-sabotaging, because we put ourselves in a situation where we're uncomfortable. But in that way of life, right? Your higher power, whatever you believe in, I also did a live on that the other day too. Your higher power, whatever you believe in, it could be whatever you want to believe in. It's your higher power. Your higher power will not. Your higher power will put you in situations where you will be uncomfortable, because the uncomfortableness is how we grow. There was one time at a meeting, right? I'm gonna take it story time. Okay. There was one time at a meeting. I sit in the back, right? I sit in the back in the rooms with my friends, right? But my friends weren't there, and the chairs in the back were all taken. So what did I do? I sat more towards the center of the room by the front door, and I was so uncomfortable because I was so used to being in the back. I was so used to being that way. So I had to find a seat more towards the front with people who I had no idea who they were. And I sat down, I was drinking my coffee, and a dude came to me that was sitting next to me. He looks at me, he's like, "You're uncomfortable, aren't you?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, how do you know?" He's like, "I could sense it." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." Not really cool, because it's a dude. It's a dude I don't know, right? He looks at me, he shakes his hand, like we shake hands. It was iffy on me even shaking his hand because I don't like shaking people's hands. But, I did. And he looks at me and he's like, "Sit down, we don't bite." Because he was with his wife or his cousin or something like that, right? I'm like, "Okay." Well, I'm sitting down, very uncomfortable, like awkwardness, like I'm all tight, right? And he turns to me and he says, "Whoever you believe in," right? Like my higher power. He said, "I might be uncomfortable in that seat, but that's the only way I would be able to grow." Your higher power throws you into situations where you will get uncomfortable. You will try to find ways to get out of the use of being uncomfortable, right? So in order for that to even happen, you have to have an outlook on that, a different perspective on that. So when he told me, when we are uncomfortable, it's our higher power that's wanting us to grow. That dawned on me. Because I was so used to being so comfortable in the back of the rooms. I'm now sitting at the front of rooms where I'm now comfortable. All because the dude that I didn't want to talk to told me that. It works in mysterious ways. Don't get me wrong, it does. The whole program works. When you want to grow, we grow. But we have to feel uncomfortable in order for us to grow. We have to get outside that comfort zone in order for us to grow. So that's that story time. Okay. So number 5. We're almost done. If anybody wants to comment the box, you can. Oh, look, Adam's here. Oh, Lissa. Adam's here. Hi, Adam. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Miss
I don't know
Crystal.
how long you've been sitting there in the box. How long have you been requested for? Lissa?
Me? Oh, I
Yeah.
just requested
Okay,
like
cool.
2 minutes ago because I wanted to wait till you were almost done. I was just listening.
My bad. Hi, Adam. How are you doing? So we are discussing self-sabotage. So if you want to come in the box, you're more than welcome to. Self-sabotage.
Can I
Yes.
tell a short story about that?
Yeah, go for it.
One thing that when you were speaking about periods of uncomfortability and how that helps us grow, one thing that my mentor taught me was, and it's known across the board, but to listen to the other person without thinking your response.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're in meetings or self-help groups or whatever path we choose to recovery. There's so much to learn and also unlearn from what we've been taught. And I know I didn't come to become a really bad alcoholic till I was about 33. And I kept drinking because I was being very abused. And I was so sick that I thought if I keep drinking, then I can deal with this abuse. I deserve this abuse. Uh, I was neglected, not really by a fault of anyone. I don't blame anyone, but I was neglected. I hurt. I never fit in. Um, I always kind of was on my own. Um, anyway, the point being that there's so much, like, I'm just amazed just being here. I'm happy to know everyone here and, yes, toxic. I don't believe 5 years ago I stopped accepting any kind of domestic violence. It almost paralyzed me. So, and I have had to learn to go and listen whenever I feel like I'm having difficulty, and then be willing to do whatever it takes. My sponsor taught me if I'm at a meeting and someone says, okay, chair the meeting, can you chair the meeting? I say yes to that service. And that used to be hard in the beginning to talk in front of people and say how I felt with no just impromptu. It was hard, but it did help me grow and it helped me learn a lot. And that's all I have to say. I just want to tell you I love you, Mystical, and I love um, everyone in recovery, to be honest, even if whatever. So thank you for the group.
Of course. Your feelings are very valid. And like Adam said, you're not alone anymore. And that's the whole thing about recovery is we tend to find our tribe. Whether or not you like the rooms, we are all here as one equally to share our stories and give hope to other people.
Yeah.
That's what we do as humans. That's what we do in recovery is we share our hope to other people. And yes, you are not alone anymore. Exactly.
And I don't know. Oh, sorry.
Keep going.
I don't know if anyone else has gone through this, but there's people that go through grandiosity and then people that go through like this martyrdom. And both of those things are ego.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Like
Sorry, hi.
And it's important to realize that, like, I always thought if I just was good and doing right and doing this, and that I helped all these people, and that made me sick too, because it was out of me not feeling good about myself that I was trying to make up for that or something, what I was lacking.
Exactly. And that's what we need to do. We need to find out other ways to cope with what we are lacking. So there's one person that stood out to me in the meeting. I'm not going to say his name, but he's been clean and sober for like 13, 15 years, right? And he has been one of my people. Like, when I come in the rooms, like, I idolize him because he's been through a lot of shit, right? Like prison, and he's done steps. He works with other men and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
He told me that our past doesn't define us, who we are today. Our past should be made assets. The scars that we endured in the past are now our assets, that we could help other people find the courage to grow through their recovery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we don't wish to close the door on the past, but we don't live in the past. And
exactly.
Yeah.
That's all in the promises. the promises come true. It does come through if
Yes.
we work the way it works. What's up, Nadia? So right now we are discussing why we self-sabotage as people in recovery. I already discussed 4 other bullet points. Now I'm on 5, and it's going to be the end of it. So the number 5 reason why we self-sabotage is we have to be able to be in control. That's why we self-sabotage. We have to be able to be in control. Did you know that? We have to be able to control. And unconsciously, out of fear, is why we self-sabotage. It's all fear aspect. If we get rid of the fear, right, we could go forward into our recovery by not self-sabotaging or finding tools to not self-sabotage. So the last reason it's going to be, it's odd, right? So we try to find ways to not control, which is why we have a higher power, right? It kind of contradicts itself, but not really, right? So it's odd. However, many recovery addicts end up relapsing because they have to control the situation. So substance can numb the feelings of fear and anxiety, which is what we were discussing on the other bullet point, right? How we use to, not feel anymore, to feel that numbness, so we don't feel anymore, okay? So it could also take stressful situations and boom, out of nowhere, explode, okay? Because we make ourselves believe it's going to explode, so it's going to explode. Many professionals who have we put ourselves in high stressful situations because that's how we coped with growing up. We put ourselves in the past, right, with the trauma and stuff like that. So we were kind of glued to that, right? It's only for a short period of time, and then you're back to what you're going through. Exactly. We only use for a short amount of time, and then it's going to come back. And then we use again because we numb the pain again, and it's going to come back. So if we don't numb that pain and we fight through that pain, there's no other reason, there's no issue we don't have to use, right? Do we have a mod in the group? I need the other person blocked right now. I don't need a strong reading. Thank you so much. So, it all ties into familiarity. Those who are in a familiar environment tend to feel more in control, right? That's why I shared that story about me being in that uncomfortable situation where I wasn't in control anymore. I allowed myself to grow because he shared that story with me, and I said to my higher power, hey, look, what am I doing here? And I decided I was going to sit down and just listen. Even though it was uncomfortable, it allowed me to grow. So
that's why it's so important. Like I believe in, for me, for meditation, I take time to myself, like to ask myself, is this really real? Or am I just having some thought that I used to have about what people told me I was? Or is this really me? And that's, for me, where the higher power came in, because inside I was so sick from things that happened to me and also things I put myself through that I didn't know at all how to live. I knew how to be suffering and more suffering, and I relapsed and relapsed, and it got worse every time because if we go back out there, it goes to the period we were at. It never is like before. And um, so I'm just thankful we're all here.
Yeah, Lacey's right. Lacey just jotted down in the chat. That's like
Mhm.
my allergy right there. It reminds me of how we look as plants. We need to transplant ourselves into bigger pots in order to grow. Yes,
Yeah,
because we can't
very true.
grow in a confined area. Boom. Like that's the shit right there, Lacey. Thank you for saying that
Mhm.
because I'm gonna write that down. Actually,
That's beautiful.
I am gonna write that down because that's actually I'm all organized. I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, so that's how we in a way self-sabotage, and to um, do research and stuff like that too, and like we have to realize that we could have also spiritual issues too, right? We have to
Hmm.
encourage it. Like I encourage anybody to find professional help and see somebody if they are also struggling with a dual diagnosis and they're self-medicating, because
Hmm.
self-medicating will throw you into a ringer, and it will continue throwing you into a ringer, because that's how we
Hmm.
self-sabotage, because we don't want to feel those emotions. So
Hmm.
if you are bipolar or unmedicated or any kinds of mental other mental,
Maladies. Yeah.
yeah, right, we have to be worried about our mental health. If you're not right mentally, right, we're not going to be spiritually fit,
Yes.
physically fit. Like we need to be spiritually fit in all kinds of everything, all kinds of areas. So if you
Hmm.
feel like you need professional help, I suggest you go get some professional help. That's my go-to. Okay, I'm gonna tell you everybody that now. Okay, because we do suffer from mental illnesses, and a lot of people who are addicts and a lot of people who are alcoholics, they self-medicate.
Yeah. And it talks about that emotional disorders and different mental
Blessings, what's
things
up?
that affect it.
Hi, Wayne. So we also have to be
I
able
think.
to identify. Okay, we also have to be able to identify our blind spots, our triggers, right? Because if we can't identify our triggers, why we are the way that we are, right? We can't fix ourselves if we don't have that identification on our triggers. We cannot fix ourselves, which is why we all which is why we self-sabotage, is because we do suffer from a lot of shit. And if we don't find
Hmm.
those triggers, we're not going to be able to form boundaries. And boundaries is a big step in recovery. It's like a go-to. You have to be able to form solid boundaries to have a solid foundation on recovery. And if we can't identify our triggers, how are we supposed to form strong boundaries?
Hmm.
Okay. We also have to identify the patterns that we do. Like, I didn't know I was self-sabotaging the 21st, right? I really did not know. I was thinking about my anxiety, having taken my 4-year chip. Like, I was overthinking. I was thinking about this shit. I was just thinking about it. Was just all over the place. My brain was all over the place. And that's what we do as overthinkers. And people who struggle with addiction is we overthink a lot of shit. So if we cannot identify the patterns on what we're all overthinking, then we cannot form it. I'm proud of all you. Have a good day. Oh, thank you. I'm so proud of you too, Wayne. Thank you for dropping in. That made me so happy. And one other thing that we can do is make a plan. Okay, so planning is a go-to, because if we don't have a plan in place, then we can relapse. And if we don't have that plan, it's gonna get worse. So we have plans everywhere, and it's like, it's called the recovery. Here, I have it down because I have all this down in my stuff. Relapse prevention plan. It's a good thing to have a relapse prevention plan where you actually plan out a relapse inside your head, right? So you know what to do when we get into these stages where we are self-doubting, where we can't, when we do self-sabotage. See, it's a good thing to call a sponsor or a mentor, because if I didn't call my sponsor or mentor the next day, I wouldn't even know I was self-sabotaging.
Yeah, and I think of like the links that we went to, or I went to, I don't like to speak, the links that I went to keep on doing what I was doing and to keep on drinking. And then I think of, in my recovery, how far am I willing to go? And that's why I say in my bio, never sell out, because it has to be either all or nothing of wanting health and wanting to change those things that have hurt us. Because now, as we only hurt ourselves after other people hurt us.
Exactly. And that's why we have that wall, right? And it's hard to get over that wall. But if we don't have a solid foundation on that wall, the wall's gonna freaking crumble.
Yeah.
It's good to have people be there for you. It's good to have trust. But if you can't trust somebody, or if you can't trust yourself, how are you supposed to trust somebody else? See, that's the whole thing about boundaries too. If we don't have those boundaries in place, how do we know what we're doing? How do we know what we are feeling? If we cannot communicate our feelings properly, how are we supposed to communicate our feelings to somebody else? They always say, right? They always say you have to love yourself fully in order to love somebody else. I believe that fully, because if I didn't love myself, I would not be here today, sober and clean. I would keep carrying on this endless cycle and keep going crazy and insane. If I didn't have that self-courage, that self-respect, the self-awareness of myself, how am I supposed to accept that from somebody else? Or put somebody else in front of that? Like, I can't do that. So I have to fully love myself in order for me to fully love another human being. And that's the whole thing about empathy too. Because if you don't have compassion on a human being, right, you're not going to be able to help another human being. So it all goes hand in hand with self-sabotage, boundaries, recovery, anything that I've talked about. Huh?
Oh, I was just gonna say that, like, I fell in a lot with codependency. And so I had to be aware of that, and then I had to look at things, because I wasn't used to having healthy ways of
coping,
processing my feelings and emotions. So that helped a lot.
So it's good that you had to find all that out too, because I had to deal with codependency issues for a really, really long time. And it threw me to my death, really. It made me want to drink more. It made me want to use more. It made me the way that I am because I dealt with the whole codependency issues where I thought if I was to leave them, I would die.
Yeah.
Where I thought he was doing this, I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then what would happen? He would use, I would use. He would drink, I would drink.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only thing that mattered was our drinking, really.
Mm-hmm.
Our addiction is why we fell in love with each other in the first place. So once that addiction resided, I realized my worth. I realized my compassion. I realized the love I have for other people. And I was so blinded because I was so codependent on this one person who didn't want to do the work that he needed to do. But it's perfectly fine. This is why I've been sober for 4 years and I've been single for 6 years. Because healing yourself is all you need to do.
Yeah.
To allow yourself to grow fully yourself. And it should be equal give and take. And if you're not having the equal give and take, right? And if you're putting something in somebody else and they're just only taking, it's not going to go anywhere. So you have to be able to realize inside your head, inside your heart, that it's not going to end well. And that happens when you do form those boundaries, when you do find that discipline inside yourself to trust yourself, to fully be aware of who you are. Anyways.
We can't find that in anyone. No matter how the person, even if they're healthy, even if they're clean, our needs have to be met by ourselves through our higher power. Otherwise, two halves don't make a whole. That becomes a big mess. And so it's important, the healing process before a relationship.
Exactly.
Which I understand now.
One other thing that I wanted to talk about or just point this out, right? So when we come into recovery, I'll get to your question, Sam. I saw that in the chat. When we get into recovery, right, we have to form all these other issues, right? We have to find other ways to cope with what we're going through, right? So a good thing to remember is progress, not perfection. We have to say that to us all the time. Recovery is a journey. It's an ongoing journey. It's not a destination. But we have to learn for it. We have to be willing to put one foot forward in front of the other, in front of the other, in front of the other, and walk through this life like this.
And letting go has been such an important tool for me, because I used to think that letting go meant I don't care, or I'm not putting my all into someone or myself, and that's not it at all. And so, like, when I have something that I need to release, I kind of picture it going out into oblivion, out into the world, or out into the ocean, or letting go in a healthy way of things that hold me down.
I agree with that. Sorry, I was talking to somebody really quick. So you could keep talking if you want to.
No, I was just saying that. And Sam, I wanted to say, there are many places you can call, and like going to meetings and stuff, you can find friends that are sober if you would like to do that.
So I just wanted to answer that one question that Sam put down in the chat. May I ask, what was your rock bottom? What made you decide that you want to change? I was unhappy with myself. I was lost. I was confused. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know how to communicate with others properly. I had to do this for myself. and I had to find a higher power that I trusted in. I had to find my outlook on my life. It wasn't my decision to be an alcoholic or an addict. It was not my decision. But I made it so I was an alcoholic and an addict. So my rock bottom is going to be different from anybody else's rock bottom. I mean, you could still have a solid job. You could still have a home. You still have everything that you want and still hit rock bottom. I didn't have to lose a house. I didn't have to lose my car. I didn't have to lose my job. But what I did when I hit my rock bottom is I lost myself. I lost myself for the sake of alcohol and the sake of being on drugs. I lost myself, my self-respect, my self-worth. I lost myself because I chose that life instead of the life I was given freely now. But we all learn from our past. We cannot shut the door on our past. What we do now is live one day at a time and keep processing and keep learning one day at a time and keep sharing and keep sharing. That's how my rock bottom hit. I almost lost my kids. I just got out of a very domestic violence situation. I was mentally abused. I was physically abused. I was all over the place. And I thought it was broken. So when I hit my rock bottom, like I said, I lost myself. I lost myself completely for the sake of the alcohol, for the sake of the drugs. I lost all control over myself. Once I realized my life was unmanageable, that's when I got the help I needed.
That's very similar, like, to me. Like, I was outside. I remember it was snowing, it was winter, and I was pushing the stroller with my child in there, and I had just had my nose broken after years of that same crap. And I was hiding in a park. It was at night because I was scared that the person was trying to hurt me further. And I had nowhere to go. And I called 911, even though I was scared. And I thought, well, what if I lose my child? But I still did it. And they took me to a motel, the police, and they talked to me and helped me find a woman's advocate. And that saved my life. Yeah. Because I never wanted my child to go through that, you know. I couldn't put them in harm's way because I felt bad about myself. And I thank those police, you know, for doing that, because they didn't treat me bad. They didn't say things, you know, they were so supportive. And I went to that shelter, and it was a great shelter with great advocates that helped me and my child get safe and have to go a few states away. So, yeah.
Is this recovery? Yes, it is kind of like a recovery group, but I don't really, I discuss topics on recovery. So I guess you could say it's kind of like a recovery group. But it's more of a discussion. We discussed I just discussed self-sabotage. I discussed how to power the other day. I discussed boundaries. This is all, I have a whole mess of stuff that I'm going to be discussing throughout my life. But it's kind of, in a way, recovery, mental illness, you know, sharing stories, giving other pointers and stuff like that. Yeah.
Sam, I wanted to ask you a question, Sam, about...
I just want to hold on. Before
sorry.
I end this, right? Did Sam and Adam want to get into the box? I mean, you guys. Hold on. Adam might be working right now, so never mind. Anyways, keep going.
I was just
Keep going.
Sam, I just wanted to ask you this because it was something that helped me, even though it's very simple. What would drinking ever do that's good? Will it, if you keep drinking, will things ever change? And what does it do for you when you drink? Does it solve anything or does it make it worse, the situation?
I can't. I'm at work right now. Okay, both of you guys are at work. But why is Adam in the box then? Adam, I thought you were working.
I am, but I just wanted to pop in and tell you that I love your face and that this is an amazing thing, and I'm so glad that I've been able to listen to it for the whole last hour that I'm at work. And it's awesome. Like, you're doing a really good job, and I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
But
Sure.
that's what it is it's self-worth and self-love, right? That lead to sabotage, self-sabotage, because it doesn't matter what anybody else in our lives tell us. We don't believe that we deserve it and that we are fuck ups. And the only thing that we deserve is pain. And we perpetuate that every day. Like Sam was saying, I'm a functioning alcoholic. Well, what does functioning mean to you? Because you know what? I held a job, I had a family, I had a house, but I by no means was functioning at all. I was not dealing with anything emotionally, I was not dealing with anything romantically, I was not living my best life. And the definition of recovery is living your best self, right? And when we put drugs and alcohol in our body, we can't be living our best self. We can't be at homeostasis. We're freaking
Yeah.
up here or we're down there, or we're up here or we're down there, or we're in a great mood or we're the worst person to hang out with ever. And we constantly put ourselves down and shame ourselves, and that's not healthy at all. So that's not functioning in my eyes.
Okay, so before we end this, right, I want to have you give me 3 positive affirmations about yourself, Adam.
Me?
Yeah.
Shit, easy. I'm good looking, I'm funny, and I got a heart of gold.
Good job. I'm going to do this every time when I have people in my boxes. I'm going to have 3 positive affirmations about yourself before I end it. Ha! Lisa.
I I always say that I'm a better mother. I am able to understand and listen to problems, and I love everyone really deeply.
Good job. And mine is everything I chose to be like this, right? But what I did fight through was the fear. The fear is on what I want is on the other side of fear. So I had to make do with the fear that I had to make sure that I could be okay for my recovery. That's one. I'm no longer afraid to feel anymore. I could actually comprehend what I'm feeling now. And my other one that I have is I bring positive to the table. Now, okay. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, I never thought about it
There's
like that. Fear could be your friend.
there's 2 forms of fear.
There's 2
There's
forms of
one
fear.
that's self-preserving fear, like, oh, I don't want to touch the hot stove, or I'm not going to go out there shooting outside or something like that. And then there's a fear that traps us and paralyzes us and keeps us from growing or loving other people or ourselves. And those are the fears. Those irrational, delusional fears are hurtful.
And a lot of time that we feel that second fear is when we are thinking in the future. What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen if I can't drink? What's going to happen at my job? What's going to happen with my friends? What's going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. It's because your brain can't solve it because it hasn't happened yet. So you're creating a false fear and false anxiety because you're not even really dealing with anything. Your brain is just creating those fears.
True.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Jamie. Isolation is I'm gonna touch on isolation in a different live because there's a difference between solitude and isolation.
And drinking is a depressant, even though, at first it helps or whatever addiction it is, it helps. But then, Sam, it becomes this horrible snowball effect for mental illness.
Anxiety is the things that haven't happened. If you want to say that, some people have anxiety, a lot of anxiety. But yeah, it's kind of like that. It's what our mind thinks. I mean, we have fear, we have anger, we have all kinds of stuff that revolves around anxiety.
And you said it earlier, Mystical, we can't, at first, we deceive ourselves. And so, it's very important to get an outside healthy opinion of what's going on too. That's why the meetings or talking to other people recovered is so important. And anxiety of the future, things that have happened to us make us kind of have these broken records in our minds, but it doesn't mean it will end up like that. I took it minute by minute at first. I had to. That's how I survived.
And then once you do that, once you accomplish that, you could do it an hour at a time, one day at a time. Because that's what we do now, is we live our lives one day at a time. That's what we do, is we can't focus on the past, right? And we can't focus on the future. So what do we have to focus on? The here and now. Anyways, so I'm gonna cut this live short. Not really short. I think I've been online for an hour and a half.
That's the longest, shortest live I've ever been in.
Well, I know, because you have 4 hours, 5 hours online, all right? I'm not there yet.
Oh, I do 12. Friday, Saturday, I'm on this bitch 12 hours a day.
So, okay, so I'll widen it up a little bit more, okay? Because life coach just got here, and he is one of my idols on here on TikTok, right? He's a self-help coach, life coach, and his shit's amazing. And we were just discussing self-sabotage. I just had some bullet points of self-sabotage and the way that we think as addicts in recovery, and mental issues as well. So if you wanted to come up in the box and discuss self-sabotage, you're more than welcome to. But I would like you to. You got 10 minutes.
You have 7 minutes, so talk fast.
I'm just kidding. Oh, he's coming up in the box.
Before he gets into a 7-minute rant on self-sabotage, I just wanted to tell you that I love you, Mystic. I have to go to class and learn all about co-occurring. So.
Okay, I love you.
Thank you for letting me participate.
Thank you.
For the roses, Lisa. No, real quick, man. Self-sabotage is one of those things, right? It's commingled with the imposter syndrome, right? We get into these things and we still hold our mistakes against ourselves. So self-sabotage is a result of people thinking they don't deserve what's good and what's good in life, because toxicity has been plaguing them for like all of their lives. It's one of those things where, just like in recovery at all times, you have to forgive yourself first. And then we have to begin to start to do the work to unpack what the trauma was and the triggers are. And that way we don't slip back down the rabbit hole of blaming ourselves or thinking that we don't deserve it or that something's too good to be true. A lot of it comes from overthinking.
Yes. And we cease fighting anything or anyone. That's something was important to me.
No, for sure. It's one of those things where like you have to believe that you deserve better. And once you believe it, it doesn't become a second thought to like fight against yourself. I literally just talked about this on Sunday, right? Where I was talking about we have to positively challenge our inner critic. We're always our harshest critic and our worst critic. And that inner critic will attempt to make you believe that you're just going to go back, or that you're going to, or that you don't deserve a second chance or anything like that. And once we start to battle with ourselves, it's always an uphill battle. And that's why we have to put the tools into place to become believers that we're better and that we're on the road to recovery and that we are constantly improving 1% each day. And once we do that and get into that mindset that we deserve everything that we're supposed to get, then God, karma, the universe, whatever your belief system is, or reciprocate that to you.
That's a good outlook. See, I'm so glad that you dropped in on my live.
Of course. How could I not? I'm sorry that I'm just now getting here. Like I need surgery on my knee, so I'm moving around a bit slower these days.
It's okay. I totally understand. Well, thank you.
And we have to not. Oh, sorry. I just want to say I really appreciate what you said too, life coach, and bitterness and anger that will lead back to using. It's so important to identify that, because subconsciously we're hurting ourselves.
Thank you, Mystic. Thank you, love.
Exactly.
But the bitterness
and one thing.
Well, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Well, no, the like bitterness and anger.
You got it. Keep going.
Bitterness and anger, right, doesn't deserve to live in your head rent free. It doesn't. You don't owe bitterness and anger, right? The thing is, these things these things happen, right? And when it says, when you hear like mental health people say do the work, when you hear counselors say do the work, that's what that means. Like to begin to unpack that trauma, because the bitterness and anger comes because we're holding on and we're unafraid to let it go, because subconsciously what happens is when we experience a trauma, if we're not careful, it becomes a part of who we are. It becomes a personality trait. And if we don't let that go, or if we don't do the work to begin to unpack and not be so mad, right? The first thing is forgiveness of self. Like we find blame, right? And finding blame in a situation and taking accountability for a situation are two completely different things, even though the action seems the same. Right. Mm-hmm. So you can own your part in a situation, but taking the blame for an entire situation, no, there were other factors at play. So take accountability for your part and learn the lesson. And then we have to, 1, forgive ourselves, 2, forgive the others. Why? And forgiveness does not necessarily mean reconciliation, right? If someone did something to you and I forgive you, it doesn't mean that we have to be cool. It's just, hey, look, I'm releasing this anger for myself.
Exactly. Like sometimes that's harming, like it teaches us like to forgive, and that's for ourselves, and so we can work and help others. But we also have to, if someone was sicker than us or hurt us, we have to protect ourselves in the right way with the higher power, as we believe.
Yeah, the higher power and firm boundaries. Mm-hmm. And again, that's a whole different conversation between boundaries and being assertive versus being aggressive. When you set your boundaries are your boundaries, and you should be unapologetic about them. Yes. And once that happens, like anybody that deems it unreasonable, you just got to cut them off like early, right? We're not. That's one thing we have to get to a place where we're not compromising on what our boundaries are. we have to get to a place where if someone crosses our boundaries, right, we may warn them, or if they're getting close, hey, you get the warning shot. But like after we have the conversation and you continually do these things and you continually invalidate me or make me feel smaller or inferior or hold my past against me, you have no place in my life anymore, because bad energy, resentment, anger, all of these things, they'll begin to pile on. And once they start to pile on, we're in a whirlwind, and it's about something that we should have cut off a long time ago.
Yeah.
That is very true. I actually just talked about boundaries the other day and how boundaries are very important for anybody to have, not just in recovery, but anybody to have is a strong set of boundaries. So people cannot walk all over you.
Right. And you should be unapologetic about your boundaries. Boundaries are boundaries, right? It doesn't become toxic until we become aggressive about our boundaries, in the sense that we try and make other people believe what we believe. But like playing defense and offense are two different positions, even though you need them both to win the game, right? So with that being said, when your boundaries are set, like nobody should be able to penetrate that perimeter, and you shouldn't have to compromise like on what your boundaries are, especially in terms of your own protection. And those that love you will respect them, and those that don't respect them don't love you, and those people don't need to be a part of your world.
And being an enabler just makes the other person and you sick.
Being an enabler is actually more toxic than somebody doing something to you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I understand fully.
So thank you for my 7 minutes, Mystic.
You did. Dude, that was like the best 7 minutes of my life.
Oh, knock it off. That's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure.
So when's your next live?
Sunday we're going to be talking about proper vetting of partners and people around us.
All right. So I'll be in your live on Sunday.
Sweet. Can't wait. Thank you for sharing your space with me, Lisa. It was lovely to meet you. Thank you to the chat.
Yes, you too.
And listen, everybody pick me up, man. Tap in on Sunday noon Pacific time. We'll be talking about the proper vetting of people in your life and what that looks like.
Good topic.
Thank you for coming in and putting your 2 cents in this.
But of course, love your face. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Have a great day.
All right. It's 11 o'clock. I'm going to end this. I have to do some stuff around here in the house. But Lissa, I love you so much.
I love you too, Mister.
And I'm glad you came in.
I love you, Sam. Be praying.
Yeah, of course. Whenever you need me, just reach out, okay?
Everyone have their best day.
Of course. Be blessed. And tell somebody you love them. All right, I'm going to end it. I love you guys. Thank you for coming in and enjoying the topic of the day. Okay. All right, I'm going to go. Bye. Okay. Thank you for coming in. I love you guys, and I will see you soon. Is it going to end? End. My phone is being weird. End. All right, I guess I have to cut the whole TikTok. Finally.